For a long time, the galaxy believed that humans were backward, primitive, violent. Other alien species had moved past war. They used logic, peace, and council meetings to fix problems. Earth still had soldiers, guns, explosions. They laughed. At Earth, they called humans animals in uniforms. Until the shadows moved. The planet, Vorthax, was known as one of the safest places in the galaxy. It had bright blue skies, floating cities, and no crime. The people of Vorthax were peaceful, proud, and soft. In the city of Sevron, alien children sat in schools and watched old war footage from Earth. Look at them. One laughed, pointing at a video of humans shouting on a battlefield, so loud, so messy. Another showed a clip of an Earth soldier crawling through mud. They crawl like animals. Why are they always dirty? Their teacher smiled gently. Humans are new to the Union. One day, they'll learn peace like we did. But that day never came. Far above Sevron, a dark fleet entered Vorthax space. No one saw it at first. The ships were painted black. They didn't send warnings. They didn't ask questions. They just came. The Korak Raiders, an outlaw group banned from the Union, had returned. These pirates didn't care about peace. They came to loot, kill, and vanish. By the time the local forces noticed, it was too late. In the Vorthax control tower, alarms screamed for the first time in 100 years. Commander Liller, a tall, silver-skinned Vorthax officer, stared at the screen. "This must be a mistake," she said. "No one attacks us." But outside the windows, explosions lit the sky. Buildings cracked. Sirens cried. Panic spread. Officers shouted over one another. Civilians ran in all directions, Vorthax peacekeepers unarmored, tried to calm the crowd. But they were trained for diplomacy, not destruction. "Call for help." Liller yelled. "Call the Galactic Council." One officer looked up. Only Earth responded. Liller's face froze. Earth? That violent planet? What could they do? 12 minutes later, a black dropship broke through the clouds and landed in a burning courtyard. It didn't look like the shining ships of the Union. It was thick, scratched, and scarred. Its name was scratched into the metal. Hades-12. Steam hissed as the ramp lowered. And then, silence. No music. No speeches. No shining flags. Just boots. One by one, the soldiers stepped out. Black armor, black helmets, faces hidden. Weapons strapped to their backs. Not one spoke. Not one moved with panic. They walked like shadows. The people of Vorthax stopped screaming. They watched, confused, afraid. Are they soldiers? A young alien whispered. "No," another said. "There's something else." Commander Liller stepped forward. "Who is in charge here?" One figure turned his head slightly. A voice came through a speaker in his helmet, cold, flat, human. "You are." Liller blinked. "What?" The soldier didn't move. "We follow one rule here. Protect civilians. You give orders. We make it happen." She swallowed. "There are at least 300 Korak Raiders in the city." "Maybe more." The soldier nodded once. "Understood." Then the team disappeared. The humans didn't run. They didn't shout. They moved like liquid shadow. One climbed a burning tower and disappeared into smoke. Another melted into a crowd of fleeing civilians. Two entered the underground sewer system. Liller watched the monitors as signals vanished. "Where are they going?" she asked. Her officer replied, "We don't know. They're not using our channels." "Then how will they fight?" The officer stared at the screen. "They already are." In a dark alley, 3 Korak Raiders dragged a family out of hiding. One pirate laughed. "These Vorthax don't even cry properly. So weak." He raised his blaster. And then the light flickered. A shadow moved across the wall. The raider turned. "Who?" He didn't finish. A sharp snap. A soft thud. Silence. The family looked up. The human didn't speak. Just raised one finger to his helmet. "Stay quiet." Then he vanished again. Across the city, raiders began to disappear one by one, not killed with noise, but with precision. Throats cut. Necks snapped. Guns stolen. Vorthax officers began to report something strange. Unit 4 says they saw nothing, just a breeze. Unit 7 found a group of Korok tied to a light post. Unit 9 says a black shape crawled up a building and pulled someone off the roof. Liller stared at the map. How many humans were sent? Just 10, her officer replied. She shook her head. That's not possible. The leader of the Korok, Brivex the Scourge, roared into his comms. What is happening? Who is hitting my men? His lieutenants gave no answers. There's something in the shadows. Something fast. We shoot, nothing hits. Brivex screamed. They are just humans. Kill them. But even he felt it, something was wrong. His men weren't just dying. They were being hunted. In a cold corridor, one of the last pirates turned a corner and found himself face to face with a mirror, or so he thought. His own reflection tilted its head. No, not a mirror. A soldier in pitch-black armor stood completely still. The pirate screamed and fired his weapon, but the soldier was gone. A hand reached from behind. The pirate's weapon dropped. Then so did he. Back in the command tower, Liller stared at her screens. Korok signals were disappearing every minute. Within 1 hour, the red dots vanished completely. She turned to her officer. What just happened? The officer replied, I don't know. I think we just survived. Then a voice came through the radio. The same cold human voice. Area secure, no civilian casualties. No human losses. Liller leaned closer. You lost no one? Correct. Where are your soldiers? Returning to ship. She ran to the window and looked outside. The black figures were walking through smoke and ash. Not limping, not wounded. One helped an alien child up. Another carried a wounded Vorthax to the medic tent. Not one bragged. Not one celebrated. They simply did the job. Later that evening, Liller approached the leader. Who are you people? The soldier took off his helmet. He looked normal, human. I'm Lieutenant Kale, he said. Ghost Unit, Earth Special Forces. You don't fight like any soldiers I've seen, she said. Kale looked down. We don't fight to impress. We fight to end. She was silent for a long time. Then she said quietly, I think the galaxy has been wrong about your kind. Kale looked out at the smoke-covered city. So did we. Final scene. In another part of the galaxy, in the Galactic Council chamber, representatives watched footage from Vorthax. The room was quiet. They saw humans sliding through smoke, taking down pirates in silence. They saw 0 human deaths. They saw civilians protected at all costs. One counselor leaned back. They called Earth primitive, another whispered. But maybe the rest of us are just unprepared. The human ambassador stood at the front of the room. He didn't smile. He didn't brag. He just said 4 words. We move in shadows. Smoke rose like a ghost over the city of Kaloran. This used to be the safest capital in the Inner Rim. Now it was burning. The sky turned orange. Buildings collapsed. Civilians screamed in every street. The Galactic Peacekeepers, famous for their blue uniforms and peaceful methods, stood frozen. They weren't trained for this. Explosions shook the ground. Alien children cried as laser blasts ripped through walls. Peacekeepers shouted orders, but no one listened. There were too many raiders. Too many fires. One officer finally screamed, Fall back! Fall back! They ran. The Peacekeeper symbols of peace across hundreds of worlds dropped their gear and fled like scared animals. But the fire didn't stop. A message flashed across space to the nearest human fleet. It was marked Emergency. Civilians trapped. Planet burning. Earth received it. They didn't ask questions. They sent 1 unit. The dropship landed just outside Loran. The ground was already black. Ash covered the air. Screams could be heard even from the landing zone. The heat burned metal. The building across the street exploded into flames, and yet, the ship's doors opened slowly. 10 figures stepped out. Black armor, no symbols. No names. Just silence. They stood for 3 seconds, looking at the fire. Then they walked toward it. An alien peacekeeper captain saw them from behind cover. His voice shook as he cried out, "The city is lost. You must turn back." One human stopped. His voice came through the helmet, flat and cold. "We didn't come to turn back." Then he ran forward, straight through the smoke. Inside the city, chaos ruled. Civilians hid under broken stairs, behind shattered walls. Raiders kicked down doors and dragged out survivors. The alien attackers laughed as they watched the flames grow. They knew the peacekeepers were gone, but then something strange happened. One of the raiders turned toward the fire and paused. He saw a human figure walking straight through it, not running, not screaming. Just walking. The raider raised his blaster. "Drop your weapon." The human didn't answer. The raider fired, but the human kept coming, and then he moved. Fast, too fast to follow. One hit. The raider dropped. The fire grew worse. Smoke covered everything. But inside the smoke, the humans moved. They weren't putting out fires. They weren't saving buildings. They were finding people. A mother trapped under a wall. A boy coughing in a stairwell. Maybe crying inside a closet. The humans didn't speak much. They didn't panic. They lifted walls, smashed doors, carried survivors out one by one. They fought through heat, bullets, and fear. In the command center, a Vorthax technician screamed into the comms, "We've lost half the city. There's no way out. We can't breathe." Another screen came online. It showed a human soldier with a civilian in each arm, running through the fire. The technician stared. How are they doing this? No one had an answer. Outside, a raider squad circled a group of survivors hiding near a collapsed building. One pirate laughed. "Come out, little bugs. We'll make it fast." But something moved behind him. Too late. A knife sliced through the smoke. Then silence. The survivors peeked out to see the raiders lying still and a black armored figure pulling them from danger. "Who are you?" one child whispered. Human didn't reply. He simply gave her a bottle of clean water and kept walking. Meanwhile, one peacekeeper captain watched from a distant rooftop. He had hidden after running from battle. Now he looked through binoculars, shocked. "These humans," he whispered. "They're not soldiers. They're something else." His second-in-command asked, "Monsters?" The captain shook his head. "No, survivors." Hours passed. The fires were pushed back not with hoses or machines, but by pure force of will. The raiders were defeated not with numbers, but with fear. And slowly, the screams faded. The next day, Galactic Council ships arrived with full support teams. They expected to find ruins, corpses, and chaos. Instead, they found hundreds of civilians, burned, tired, coughing but alive, and 10 humans standing quietly by their ship. The lead council officer ran forward. "Where is your commander?" One human nodded toward a small building. Inside, a soldier was sitting on the floor, patching up a Vorthax child's wounded leg. The council officer stepped in. "Commander, the situation is under control now. You may return to your ship." The soldier didn't look up. "We'll leave when the last civilian is safe." Later that day, a journalist from the Galactic News Corps asked the commander one question on camera. "Why didn't your people run like the peacekeepers?" The commander looked directly into the lens and replied, "Because running never saved anyone." Final scene, in a council meeting the next day. The peacekeeper general stood before the representatives. "We must understand," he said. "We weren't trained for a fire like that. We weren't ready for the violence. We don't fight like humans." The room was quiet. Then the Earth ambassador spoke. He stood slowly and said just one thing. "That's the difference. You protect peace. We protect people. The planet Dravian 6 was quiet that morning. The sky was a soft green. Alien children played outside tall crystal towers. Traders smiled. Security drones floated above, watching calmly. No one expected war. Not today. Not here. Then the sky went dark. At first, they thought it was a storm. But the shadows didn't move like clouds. They moved in sharp lines, too fast, too wide. The people looked up. They saw ships. Thousands. Black, silent, massive. The Varkal Armada, a pirate fleet banished by the Galactic Council 60 years ago, had returned. But no one thought they still existed. Now they covered the entire sky. One by one, the ships dropped down, closing all exits. The people of Dravian 6 had no army. They had no weapons. Just empty hands and open mouths. In the capital city, the council governor screamed into his comes. We are under siege. The sky is gone. His officers looked helpless. We can't escape. There's no way out. Then a new alert appeared on the screen. Incoming human transmission. In orbit, the Varkal fleet received a simple message. 4 words: leave. You were warned. The Varkal commander, a giant creature named Goroth Mech, growled. Earth dares threaten me? His second-in-command laughed. Let them try. Their fleet is small. Their tech is weak. They both laughed. Until the second screen blinked. Something was coming. One ship. Just one. It wasn't shiny. It wasn't big. It looked broken. Ugly. Slow. The computer scanned it. Unregistered human vessel. No weapons detected. No shield signatures. No crew ID. Goroth Mech grinned. Destroy it. But before he could give the full command, something strange happened. The ship stopped, dead still. And then a voice came through all frequencies. Calm. Cold. We warned you once. The Varkal ships opened fire. Missiles flew. Energy blasts lit the dark sky. Everything hit the small human ship. But nothing happened. No explosion. No damage. The ship was still there. Goroth-Mike shouted, What is this? And then everything changed. From the small ship's belly, something dropped. Not a bomb. Not a drone. A man, just one, falling through space. No armor, no parachute, no heat shield. He dropped through the atmosphere like a comet. The people of Dravian 6 looked up again. A ball of fire was falling from the sky. At first they panicked. It's a missile. But the ball slowed. Then landed and walked out of the crater. One man. Tall, human, covered in black ash. No weapon in his hand, but his eyes burned. The Varkal troops on the ground pointed weapons. The man didn't flinch. They shouted. Who are you? He said only this. I am your warning. Then he moved. Fast. In seconds, the first Varkal soldier dropped, then the next. The human used no gun. Just his hands. He broke metal armor, dodged plasma shots, moved like wind silent. And deadly. By the time the fifth soldier screamed, the others were running. Above, the fleet commander stared at the screen. What is this? A ghost? His computer beeped. Unknown combat behavior. Unable to calculate response. Recommend retreat. But it was too late. On every Varkal ship, systems started to fail. Gravity turned off. Lights flickered. Engines died. Something was inside their systems. Something human. A virus. Not the kind made to steal data, but one made for war. And it had only one order: break everything. The one human ship sent no more messages. It just watched. Every Varkal screen flashed red. One word in English. Run. Panic broke the fleet. Some tried to fire back. Missiles exploded inside the ships before launch. Others tried to flee. Engines failed. Communications died. Within 1 hour, 70% of the Varkal fleet was offline. And only one human had touched the ground. Back on Dravian 6, the man stood on the battlefield. He was bleeding, burned, bruised, but he stood tall. More Varkle's soldiers arrived. They surrounded him. He looked up, then smiled, and whispered into his comms. Phase 2. From orbit, 5 more human ships dropped. From hyperspace, not big, not many, but fast, black, silent, and deadly, each. One opened mid-air, 10 soldiers dropped from each. They hit the ground running, no fear. No sound, just death in motion. The battle lasted 14 minutes. After that, the planet was quiet again. No Varkle survived. When the Galactic Council arrived days later, they were confused. No signs of nukes. No orbital strikes, just broken pirate ships, and 1,600 civilians alive and safe. They found the man sitting on a broken pillar, drinking from a steel bottle. Who are you? The council asked. He looked up. Just the whisper before the storm. Final scene. In a secret chamber, deep in council. Space leaders watched the recording. How did one human defeat a fleet? Another said, this was not just strength, it was planning. Patience, a third whispered. It was a warning. They turned to the Earth ambassador. He didn't blink. He simply said, you laughed at our strength. Now you fear our silence. The galaxy knew the name Squad 47. They were not just elite. They were legends, handpicked from 1,000 races. Trained on death worlds. Tested against machines, monsters, and each other. They had never lost a mission. Not one. So when the rogue mining colony on Zeta 9 stopped sending energy to the council, they sent no armies. No warships. They sent Squad 47. Their shuttle landed without trouble. The planet was quiet. Too quiet. Thick fog covered the ground. The sky stayed dark, even in daytime. No wind, no birds. Just silence. The team stepped out, laughing. Commander Varenkar chuckled. They said this place was cursed. I say it's just lazy workers hiding in the dark. His second-in-command loaded a plasma rifle. Let's wake them up. They entered the main colony gate. Nothing moved. Buildings stood cold and empty. Lights flickered. Doors hung open. Food sat untouched on tables. No bodies, no signs of a fight, but the fear was thick in the air. The squad split into 2 teams. One moved east, toward the energy station. The other, led by Varenkar, walked into the colony center. That's when the strange things began. Footsteps. Behind them, but no one was there. Shadows moved, but the light stayed still. Static in their comms. Something's jamming us, said a trooper. Maybe underground tech? Varenkar didn't care. Push forward. Minutes later, the East team reported in. Station is fully operational. No damage, still generating power. Then where's the crew? Varenkar snapped. A voice came through the comms. Low, calm. The squad froze. Identify yourself. The commander shouted. No answer. Only the fog thickening around them. One of the soldiers stepped into a side building. He didn't come out. Varenkar followed and found only his weapon. Still warm. Where did he go? Another asked. Search. Pattern. Varenkar ordered. They searched. Nothing. Then another soldier vanished. No scream. No struggle. Just gone. Something is in the colony, said a trooper, voice shaking. Varenkar cursed. You think we're scared of ghosts? Another voice crackled through the comms. You should be. Varenkar turned. He saw a shape in the fog. Just a silhouette. Small. Standing still. A human. No armor. No weapon, just a cloak. Varenkar laughed. Is this a joke? He aimed his gun. The figure didn't move. Varenkar fired. The laser hit but passed through empty air. The figure was gone. Then the screams began, one by one. Squad 47 vanished. Some taken from rooftops. Some pulled into vents. One simply stepped into the fog and never returned. Varenkar shouted for extraction. No response. Even the sky above was black now. No ships. No help. Just silence. Now only Varenkar remained. He backed into the colony tower. locked the door, turned on every light. "Come out," he shouted. "You're not stronger than me." A whisper came from the shadows. "It's not about strength." Varenkar fired in every direction. Empty halls. Nothing hit. His heart pounded. Sweat dripped. Then the light above him turned off. Then the next, until he stood in complete darkness, and something was breathing behind him. Slow. Human. He turned and saw nothing. Then a hand grabbed him. Everything went black. 3 days later, a council rescue ship landed on Zeta-9. They found no signs of a fight, only one recording. Varenkar's helmet log. They played the last 10 seconds. It ended with his voice. It was never a ghost. It was worse. Final scene, inside a black site. On Earth, the figure from the colony walked through a steel corridor. No one spoke to him. No one made eye contact. He placed a tiny device on the table. "Squad 47 has been neutralized." A commander nodded. "Good. We needed the galaxy to remember something." The man raised an eyebrow. The commander smiled darkly. "That humans don't just win wars. We end myths." The planet Dreka was known for one thing: the Pit of Chains. It was the galaxy's worst prison. No windows, no mercy. Every species feared it. The pit held warlords, traitors, assassins, and monsters. It was built inside a dead volcano. Walls made of neutron stone. No escape, no light, no hope. The guards? Machines with no feelings. The prisoners? Creatures who had killed planets. They weren't scared of pain. They weren't scared of death. They said, "We know fear." They were wrong. One morning, the pit systems detected something strange. An incoming visitor. No fleet. No army. No backup. Just one ship. Small. Human-made. Old. Scarred by battle. The warden laughed. "A single human coming here alone?" The ship landed. The ramp opened. One human walked out. He had no weapon. No helmet. Just black boots and a brown jacket with a faded Earth flag. He walked to the gate and stopped. The guards scanned him. "State your purpose." He spoke slowly. "I've come to talk." The machines scanned again. No weapons, no ID, no armor. The warden snorted. "Let him in. This will be fun." Inside, the prisoners watched from the shadows. One whispered, "What is that?" Another said, "A messenger? A fool?" A third chuckled, "Fresh meat." But the human kept walking. His boots echoed across the stone floor. No fear in his eyes, not a flicker. He walked past murderers who had killed cities. Past aliens who drank blood. Past monsters with claws as long as swords. No one touched him. Not yet. Finally, the human reached the lowest level. Cell block red. This place held the worst of the worst. And in the deepest cell waited Kravax the Devourer, a creature twice the size of any man, covered in scars, eyes black as coal. He once killed 9 council fleets in a day. He heard the footsteps and growled, "Who dares come here?" The human stopped at his cell and stared through the bars. "I do." Kravax laughed loud and deep. "You're just a man." The human nodded. "Yes, but I brought something with me." Kravax stood tall. "A bomb?" "No." "A weapon?" "No." The human took a deep breath. "I brought your past." For a moment, even the air went still. Kravax's smile faded. "No one knows my past." The human reached into his jacket and pulled out a small cube. He activated it. A hologram filled the room. It showed Kravax younger, smaller, before the scars, before the death. He was running, screaming. Afraid. "I know where you came from." The human whispered. "I know what broke you. I know who hurt you. I know what you did to hide that pain." Kravax roared and slammed the bars. "Shut up." But his hands shook. The prisoners above listened in silence. This human didn't come to fight. He came to unmake, and it was working. Krevex fell back, eyes wide. What are you? The human stepped closer. I'm your mirror. Across the prison. Alarms blared. Doors slammed. Power flickered, but no one moved. Every prisoner, no matter their crimes, felt something they hadn't felt in years. Real fear. The warden watched through the cameras. End this. Kill him. But the command systems didn't respond. Every camera froze. Every machine stopped. Only the human moved. He walked back to the top. Level. Quiet. Calm. The prisoners didn't shout. They didn't threaten. They just stared. Some even backed away. At the gate, the human turned. He looked at the darkest pit in the galaxy and said just 5 words. Now you know real fear. Then he left. His ship rose into the sky. The pit stayed silent. In Krevex, he didn't speak for days. Didn't eat. Didn't sleep. Just sat in the corner of his cell. Remembering. Final scene. In a deep chamber on Earth, the human handed the cube to a woman in a gray uniform. It's done, he said. She nodded. They thought they understood fear. He turned to leave. Now they know it has a face. The galaxy knew the HOWLERS. They were the most dangerous criminal group in space killers. Hunters, traitors from dozens of species. They didn't follow rules. They followed war, and no one dared stop them. The Howlers lived deep inside a lawless system called Grey Reach, a system full of black holes, dead stars, and broken colonies. No fleets went there. No one came back. The Galactic Council said, let them rot in their pit. But Earth said, we'll handle it. The Council laughed. Send an army if you want. They'll never return. But Earth didn't send an army, not even a squad. They sent one human. He arrived in a ship the size of a bus. No name, no markings on it. Flew straight into Grey Reach without slowing down. The pirates spotted it from their base on the asteroid. KARNAK-9.1 laughed. One ship? One man? This is a joke, another said. Let him land. We'll take his bones. The human landed anyway. Alone. He stepped out. Wearing a dark coat. No helmet. No gun. Just calm eyes and a slow walk. The Howlers watched from high walls, towers, and rocks. Their leader, Skarn the Bone Drinker, stood on the edge of a cliff. He smiled. So Earth sends a messenger. The human didn't speak. Skarn growled. What's your name, coward? Still no answer. The human walked forward. Step by step. 5 Howlers dropped from the ledge in front of him, blades drawn. Teeth sharp. No mercy. They rushed him, but then he vanished. For a second they stopped. Where did he go? Then one Howler screamed, his body twisted. Armor shattered. Eyes wide. The next fell back broken. Then the third face slammed into the ground. No one saw it clearly, just flashes, shadows, a blur of motion. 3 seconds later, all 5 Howlers were down. Silent. Breathing, but barely. The human stood behind them, calm again, still unarmed. The pirates stepped back. One whispered, "What is he?" Skarn shouted, "He's just a man." But his voice shook. The human looked up at the cliffs where hundreds more Howlers stood, watching. Then, for the first time, he spoke. His voice was soft. "You've made enough noise." And then everything changed. The Howler ships parked on the asteroid cliffs exploded. One by one. No sounds, no missiles. Just fire. Boom. Boom. 20 ships gone in seconds. Panic broke out. Skarn screamed, "Defenses up!" But the weapons failed. Turrets didn't turn. Shields didn't activate. Nothing worked. The human walked straight into the center of their stronghold. Not a shot fired at him. Not a hand raised. Even Skarn took a step back. "Who are you?" he asked. The human stopped. "I'm the answer to your question." "What question?" The man stared into Skarn's eyes. "What happens when you make Earth angry?" Skarn raised a plasma blade, charged at him, screamed like a wild beast. But the human didn't flinch, didn't blink, didn't move. He just whispered one word. "Sleep." Skarn collapsed. Alive, but silent. The remaining pirates dropped their weapons. Some ran. Some froze. None dared fight. One old pirate muttered, "We knew pain, but this is something else." Another whispered, "This is fear, true fear." Later, a galactic scout ship arrived at Karnak 9 to check the strange energy bursts. They found the howlers tied together, alive, afraid. And the human was gone. No ship. No trail. Only a small metal plate left behind. On it was written, "Earth came alone. Once." Final scene, back on Earth, in a hidden command room. A council ambassador watched the footage. He turned to the Earth general. "You sent just one?" The general nodded. "That one was enough." The war against Earth had begun. It wasn't declared. It just happened. The alien alliance known as the Threx Unity believed humans were getting too bold, too advanced, too dangerous. So they sent a warning. They surrounded Outpost 17A, a small human science station floating near the edge of the Orion Belt. It wasn't a military base. It had no weapons. Just one human inside. A young engineer named Dale Corbin. The Threx fleet came in silence. 72 warships, destroyers, carriers, interceptors. They made a full circle around the outpost. No way in, no way out. Commander Varnick stood on the bridge of the lead ship. "Send the message," he said. His crew sent a simple transmission. "Step outside. Surrender. Or be erased." They expected fear. They got something else. Inside the outpost, Dale read the message. He wasn't a soldier. He wasn't trained for war. But he stood, cracked his knuckles, and whispered, "Okay." He stepped outside. No armor. No weapon. Just a small tool pack strapped to his belt. The alien commanders laughed. "He's an engineer." One snorted. "A child," said another. Varnick narrowed his eyes. "This feels wrong." Dale looked around at the glowing fleet that surrounded him. He tapped something on his wrist. 1 second passed. 2. Nothing happened. Then boom. One of the smaller Threx cruisers exploded. Out of nowhere. No shot fired. Just light and fire. The aliens panicked. Who fired? No one did. Was it sabotage? Before they could answer, another ship exploded. The fleet tried to scatter, but the ships closest to the outpost began losing power. Engines failed. Weapons went offline. Shields dropped. One by one. Ships started drifting dead in space. And Dale, he stood perfectly still. On board the command ship, Varnick shouted, "What is this?" "Scan the outpost." His tech officer stuttered. "It's not just an outpost, sir." "What do you mean?" "It's a mirror node." Varnick's eyes widened. "Impossible. Those are just rumors." "No, sir. Earth built one." They really did it. The mirror node was a human invention made in silence. It couldn't attack, but it could copy any signal, bounce it, twist it, and send it back amplified. Every time the Threx tried to aim weapons, their systems turned against them. Every signal they sent, the node reflected back stronger. Their fleet was attacking itself. Dale watched calmly. He tapped again on his wrist. A nearby carrier cracked in half. Another burst into blue flames. He wasn't aiming. He didn't need to. The ships were destroying themselves. Varnick gave the order, "Retreat." Too late. More explosions filled the sky. Dale stepped forward. Slowly. Each step made another ship explode. It was like the fleet was cursed. One Threx captain screamed into the comms, "What is he?" Another shouted, "Not a man, a weapon." But Dale only spoke once. Loud, calm. His voice reached every Threx ship. "You surrounded Earth once. Now Earth surrounds you." Within 4 minutes, the fleet was gone, either destroyed or powerless. Only the command ship floated half broken. Varnick stared at the screen in silence. Then a second human voice came through the system. This one deeper, colder. "We warned you not to poke Earth. Now we're watching. Suddenly, the stars around them flickered, ships uncloaked, dozens of human stealth, cruisers. Big, silent, deadly. They had been there the whole time. Hidden. Waiting. Dale turned and walked back. Inside the outpost, his job was done. He wasn't a soldier, but he had just beaten a fleet. Final scene. Back on Earth, in a dark control room, an officer closed a laptop. He looked at the silent crowd of alien ambassadors. "You came to warn us once," he said, "but now, you're the ones being warned." No one spoke. No one moved, because in that moment, every alien in the room knew Earth didn't need an army. It needed only one human. His name was Korak the Unshaken. He had never lost a battle. His fists had broken bones of kings. His roars had crushed armies. Korak was not just a warrior. He was a living weapon, a beast bred in war factories and trained in zero-gravity arenas. When the alien alliance grew tired of losing to humans, they sent Korak. They said, "Crush their spirit. Break their strongest." He asked one thing: "Bring me their best." They gave him a name: Sergeant Riley Knox, the human who had survived 43 missions alone. Korak smiled. "Good. I want the one who never runs." The battle was set. A neutral planet, dead and cold, known as ZETTA-9. No trees. No water. Just dust and silence. One side, Korak, standing 10 feet tall, wrapped in plasma armor, holding a blade made of star iron. The other, a single human, Riley Knox. No armor. No gun. Just black gloves and a scarf around her neck. Crowds from across the galaxy watched by drone. Millions of eyes. Every screen showed the same image: Korak ready to strike, Riley standing still. Alien commentators laughed. "Why isn't she armed? She's frozen. This will be over in seconds." Korak walked forward. Each step shook the ground. "You're the one they talk about?" he shouted. Riley said nothing. "Speak," he roared. "Let me hear your voice before I break your bones." Still no reply. Korak growled and raised his blade. He charged, but when he got close, Riley smiled. Just a simple, small smile. And Korak stopped. Mid-swing. Mid-charge. His knees locked. His grip loosened. He froze. Something was wrong. He looked into her eyes. They were calm. Too calm. No fear. No anger. Just control. Complete control. The same look his trainers gave him when he was a young beast, before they activated pain codes. He blinked. Suddenly, he wasn't on ZETTA-9. He was back in the labs, back in the cold tanks, back when he was powerless. "No," Korak growled, but his body wouldn't move. His blade dropped to the ground. Riley didn't lift a finger. She simply said, "You were never unshaken. Just never tested." That broke him. He screamed, but not in anger. In fear. He fell to one knee. The galaxy watched in shock. The strongest warrior fell without a fight. The alien alliance shut off the broadcasts. They couldn't let this be seen. But it was too late. Clips spread fast. Every planet, every system. The words repeated again and again. He charged. She smiled, and he fell. Back on Zeta-9, Korak looked up, breathing hard. What are you?" Riley stepped forward. Korak flinched. She knelt beside him and whispered, "I'm just human." Then she stood, walked away, left him kneeling in the dust. Back on her ship, Riley said only one thing to the commander: they sent their best. Now they know better. Final scene, on the alien homeworld. Leaders gathered in silence. Their champion had been broken. Not with a weapon. Not with an army. But with a smile. One leader said, "What now?" Another whispered, "We've awakened something we can't put back to sleep." The alien fleet was massive, over 400 ships. Carriers, destroyers, bombers, and DREADNOUGHTS. They came from all corners of the galaxy, united under one banner: The final burn. The leaders of this alliance had one goal: destroy Earth. No more warnings. No more tests. Just fire. We strike now, said High Commander Jerix, standing tall on the bridge of the lead ship. He stared at the blue planet on the screen. Calm. Peaceful. Still turning under the sun like it didn't know what was coming. Earth thinks it's untouchable, he said. Let's show them otherwise. His second-in-command nodded. Scanners report no defense grid, sir. No shields. No space fleet in orbit. Jerix grinned. Perfect. The invasion began. Waves of ships moved into low orbit. Bombs prepared. Lasers. Charged. Troops ready to drop. But something felt off. One of the officers frowned. Sir, are you seeing this? Jerix stepped forward. The planet's surface wasn't moving like it should. The clouds weren't shifting. The oceans weren't flowing. He looked closer. It wasn't Earth. It was a hologram. A giant fake projection. A trick. Abort descent, he shouted. This is not the real planet. But it was too late. Boom. The first wave of ships hit something. Not air. Not water. Mines. Thousands of hidden space mines exploded in every direction. The second wave tried to pull back. Then gravity reversed. Dozens of ships were dragged into hidden black holes set around the trap, crushed in silence. Spinning wreckage floated in every direction. Jerix's command ship shook. What is this madness? Then a voice came through. It didn't come from a ship. It came from every speaker, every channel, every screen. You didn't find Earth. Earth found you. At that moment, real Earth appeared behind them. Behind the entire fleet. It had never been there at all. The whole time. The fleet had been flying toward a decoy built by human engineers. And now, the real trap was closing. Human. Ships decloaked. Hundreds. Small, quiet, fast. They didn't need size. They had precision. They cut through the alien fleet like lightning. Each shot perfect. Each strike deadly. No warning. No mercy. One by one, the alien ships exploded. Jerix tried to run. Get us out of here. But the engines were already gone. Human drones swarmed. His ship. Not to kill, but to board. Jerix was pulled from the wreckage by human soldiers. In black suits. He expected a trial, a prison. He got something else. They took him underground. To a place beneath real Earth. A massive dark chamber. Screens showed every fleet that had attacked Earth and failed. He saw faces. Ships. And then he saw his own. A red circle appeared around it. From the shadows, a human general stepped forward. He didn't raise his voice. Didn't smile. He only asked, "Why do you all think we're weak?" Jerix was speechless. The general continued, "You mistake silence for fear. But silence is how we aim." Final scene. Across the galaxy, silence spread. Broadcasts of the failed invasion played everywhere. One line echoed over and over. You didn't find Earth. Earth found you. The message was clear. The humans weren't fighting for survival. They were already ready. Prepared. One step ahead. And now, the galaxy understood. Earth was not the battleground. Earth was the trap. End of series.